Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So today we are doing chapter 15. The name of the chapter is Purushottam Yoga, or Yoga of the Supreme Person. Now let's see how we are progressing from chapter 14 to 15. In chapter 14, the Lord explained what are the three modes of material nature. What are the three modes of material nature? Quickly, someone would like to say? Mode of, which is the best one among the three?
Sattva.
Yes, goodness, Sattva Guna, right?
Rajas Gun and Tamas Gun.
Very good. Sattva Gun, Rajas Gun is mode of passion. Tammo Gun is mode of ignorance. Then how are the people in these modes? People in the mode of goodness are pious, doing not doing any sinful activities, performing austerities, doing their duties, not harming anyone, willing to cultivate knowledge, right? But these kind of people are still bound. What are they bound by? They bound by a feeling of superiority. They have excessive happiness, or they have an understanding that they know more than others. So a slight feeling of pride more than others. So that is what is causing them to be bound in the material nature. Then the second one is mode of passion. So how are the people in mode of passion? Greedy. Sense gratification is their main aim, correct? And they have unlimited desires, and that is what is keeping them bound here in this material world. Then the third one we learned was tamaguna. How are people in tamaguna? Lazy. They don't want to do anything, and their laziness and their ignorance is keeping them bound in this world. So, but to attain devotion to the Lord, one needs detachment from the material world. And now Krishna in this chapter is describing the Purushottam Yoga. Now, from what is Purush? Purush is a person, right? And Uttam is the best. So, in this Purushottam Yoga itself, we come to know that Lord is a person. He's being called as Purushottam. Purushottam is a Lord, correct? So, he's just not an energy. Yes, definitely, he has multiple, innumerable, inconceivable energies beyond our perception, even more than what we understood here, more than we could perceive and understand. It is beyond that. So these energies are coming from an energetic who is a person. That is why this yoga is also called Purushottam Yoga, best person or the supreme person. So it's divided like this: becoming detached from the material world, then the transmigration process, then Krishna's position as our maintainer. How is he maintaining us in this material world right now? When we are living here, how are we maintained by him? We are thinking we are maintained by our boss, he's giving us money, or we are maintaining our family, or we are maintaining ourselves, or our parents are maintaining us. But how is the Lord actually maintaining all of us? Then who is the essence, and what is the summary of all the Vedas, and who's the essence of the Vedanta? Then the last part is knowing Krishna means knowing everything. This is the spiritual world, this is the material world, in between is a Brahma Jyoti, like we saw yesterday. Now in this, what can you make out from this tree? What is this tree? Which tree is this? Someone would like to tell?
Banyan tree.
Yes, banyan tree, correct, right. So let's see the first shloka. Yes, Mataji. You just concentrate on this tree below, huh? Now, after reading this shloka. Yes, Mataji, you can recite.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha Urdhvamulam Madashakham Ashvattam Prahuravyayam Chandamsi Yasya Parnani Yastam Veda Savedavid.
Yes. The Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree, that is Ashwatha Vruksha. Ashwatham is the Vruksha, correct? Imperishable. Look at this word, banyan tree that has its roots upwards and its branches downwards. Imagine this tree. You look at the tree which is down. We'll go to the up part later. Just concentrate on the tree which is down. Branches are going down and roots are going up. And whose leaves are like the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is a knower of Vedas. Now, have you ever seen a tree which is like this, which has roots going up and branches coming down? Has anyone seen a tree like this? No, right? There's one possibility where you can see a tree like this. You know, when can you see a tree like this, in this kind of like a picture like this, where the roots are appearing to be going, branches going down?
When it is
One
very old.
possibility.
When
It's
it is very old.
reflection on water.
Yes. Who said reflection on water? Correct. See, if you see a tree on a bank of a river or some water body and you look into the water, you will see a tree like this, correct? So this tree that they are talking about is compared to the material world. Lord is comparing our material world to this tree with its roots which are going down and branches which are coming up. Sorry, branches which are going down and roots which are coming up. So a material world is a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. So whenever you know that there is a reflection, means it is coming from somewhere, correct? There cannot just be a reflection unless there is a bird. The bird cannot have a reflection in the water body. There has to be a bird somewhere, then there'll be a reflection, correct? So this itself tells us that yes, there is a spiritual world and this material world is just a reflection of this. Now this tree is described as imperishable. Now we'll see what is the further description of the tree. Now this is just a small tabular form of how is the spiritual world different from the material world. Spiritual world is where there are the Vaikuntha planets, where Lord Narayana, like Lord Krishna in the Narayana form resides in all the planets, correct? In his different expansions. The topmost of the spiritual planet is which one? Goloka Vrindavan, where Lord Krishna is in his original form, correct? With Radharani, right? Yes. And this material world is where Mahavishnu has entered. What has Mahavishnu done? He's expanded to Garbhodakshaya Vishnu to enter each universe, who's expanded into Shirodakshaya Vishnu to enter each living being, correct? So this is a material world. We saw the picture of the material world yesterday, right? So the spiritual world is permanent. It is not going to get destroyed during the process of annihilation, during the birth and death of the Brahma. No, nothing is going to happen to the spiritual world. It's going to remain as it is. Material world is real. It is called as a reflection, but it is real, but it is temporary. You cannot say this material world, there's nothing, this is just Maya, this is a perception. No, it's there, but it is going to go. It's going to get annihilated at some point of time. Then spiritual world, the love in the spiritual world is true. The love in the so-called material world is lust, correct? Anyone, any girl telling a boy, any boy telling a girl, I love you with all my heart, with everything that is pure and this and that, somewhere there is a component of lust in that love. You know, the only love that you can think of, I think, in the material world, which is free of lust, is a love that a mother has on her child. That can be the only love which can be said to be lust free. But all other love, so-called love, is bound by lust. So in the spiritual world, we are staying with our ultimate father, right? In association with him. So that's true love. It's true happiness and it is everlasting. Imagine we feel some kind of happiness out of whatever. You get a result, you get good marks, you get a job, you get something. That happiness is short-lived, right? It's temporary in the material world. Sometime gone. But imagine such a kind of happiness, it's constantly there. That is in the spiritual world. Then all the relationships in the spiritual world are true. But the relationships in this material world are temporary. Your friend in this life is not going to be your friend in next life. It can turn to be your enemy in the next life. Your parents in your this life and parents in your next life are going to be different. Sad part is we don't even know who they are going to be, how they are going to be. Correct? Then in the spiritual world, there is no sorrow, there is no sadness. And in the material world, dukkhalayam, only sadness, ashashvatam, temporary. And all the 4 real problems are absent in the spiritual: birth, death, old age, disease. It's not there. You're eternal. You will never become old. Always young with a fresh, nice spiritual body, which is eternal. But the problems in the material world are real. Everyone who's born is going to be old, is going to die one or the other day. Do you know any person who's disease free, who's never got any kind of illness? You might be healthy. You might be living a healthy life, but there is no one you know of who's never had any kind of illness, correct? These are the real problems. And this is compared to a hotel, correct? We are in a hotel right now. This hotel is belonging to the Lord. We are trying to own it here. It is not ours. If you go to stay in a beautiful hotel for a day or so, even for a longer time, you cannot have ownership over it, correct? You cannot get attached to it. One or the other day, you have to leave it and go to your home. Yes. The branches of this tree extend downwards and upwards and nourished by the three modes of material nature. Now the branches of this tree are described to be going up and down. How is the tree seen? The tree is, here Brahma is sitting, it's arising from here, from the Brahma, correct? This is a material world. We are here in this, trapped in this material tree. And these branches, are nourished. Like how a tree is nourished by water, you have to pour water to a tree for it to grow, correct? Similarly, the three modes of material nature are nourishing this tree, that tree of the material world, the imperishable banyan tree, which is a reflection, perverted reflection of the tree in the spiritual world. Then this is a comparison. The twigs of the tree are compared to object of the senses. The tree also has roots going down, and these are bound to the, like, tree has roots going up. Similarly, tree has roots going down, and these are bound to the fruitative actions of human society. So roots are what which is binding this materialistic tree, correct? And that roots are compared to all the attachments that we are having, correct? So those are the roots, and those are binding this tree. And this tree is described to be very, it's we don't know how big it is. It's vast, huge. Once you're trapped in it, it's very difficult to come out. And the only way to come out of this material tree is liberation. And like like there is water, the medium is water, right? Which causes reflection of something into the water. The reflection is caused by the surface of the water. Similarly, desire, when you see this desire over here in the center here, this is what is causing a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. That is the cause of creation of the material world, because of unlimited desires of the souls Lord has created the material world. Go fulfill your desires, but you're going to get trapped over here, trapped by lust, correct? Trapped by the modes of nature. You're going to enter that cycle again and again. How can you cut the tree? If you need to cut something, what do you need? You need to cut the tree in order to get liberation. If you want to get liberated, you want to go to the spiritual world forever, you have to cut out of this tree and go to the spiritual world. Now, how do I get out of this tree? You need to cut it. How do you cut it? To cut anything, what do you need? You need some instrument, correct? To cut something, what do you need? You need some equipment, some kind of instrument. It's not going to go off or vanish off on its own. Need something to cut it, correct? What is that thing that you need to cut this tree? Detachment. In Lord is described in 15.3 and 4. Detachment is the only means to cut the root of the tree. So this difficult tree can be cut. The roots of this tree can be cut by detachment. Detachment is the only way out. And how is it easy for you to get detached? By proper knowledge about the Lord, about the jiva, relationship of the Lord to the soul, to prakriti, material nature. When you get all this knowledge, as we've been learning throughout all these chapters, right? So this knowledge will help you in detachment and surrendering to the Lord. Then Arjuna is asking, how do I cultivate detachment? Immediately, next question, how do I get detached?
निर्मानमोहाजितसङ्गदोषा अध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामा द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसंज्ञैर् गच्छन्त्यमूढपदमव्ययं तत्.
Lord is saying only by surrender you will be able to get detached. You have to surrender to the Lord, right? First you have to surrender to something, only then you will get detached from something. It's a simultaneous process. Without surrender, detachment is not possible, correct? So which kind of people can surrender? So Lord is saying those who are free from false ego, nirmana moha jittasanga dosha. illusion, false association, who understand the eternal. This by knowledge. What is false ego and false prestige? We'll see in the next few slides. Who are not into the who are not bound by lust, who've come above it, who are done with all the material lust, who are freed from dualities of happiness and distress. Like I told you, everything, all the problems are arising from some kind of duality. You are never neutral. You always either want something or you don't want something. Think of anything. You just imagine of something, you will either your sorrow or your problems are causing because you either actually want it, you're hankering for it, or you just don't want it. You're never neutral about it. So this duality, happiness, distress is a duality. Who are unbewildered, who are stable, who know how to surrender to the Supreme Lord, attain to that kingdom. It is easy for them to use the weapon of detachment and cut the roots of the tree and reach the eternal world forever. Now, what is the false ego? There is this false prestige, false ego. What is that? This man has earned some amount of money in this material world, which is actually negligible compared to what Lord is, right? And he's saying, this is mine. This property belongs to me. Does anything belongs to us over here? No. Just paying some amount of money for some amount of land, and writing our name on some amount of paper and signing it. Something does not belong to us. Even if it belongs to us, it is our perception. It is in this material world, limited. Anytime it can, out of any reason, for some reason, that land can be vanished, can be a fire, anything can happen, right? Things are beyond our control. We forget the fact that we are here temporary. Who's the actual owner of the property? Actual owner of the property is the Lord. False identification. How dare you call me a fool? This man is saying. Me, result of wrong identification with the body. I'm super talented, earning lots of money. I'm the best. This is illusion. Whatever little talent you have, it is negligible compared to the Lord. It is nothing in front of him. And that is a spark of the Lord within you. What is Lord saying? I am the intelligence of the intelligent. Remember chapter 10, Vibhuti Yoga? Vibhuti, one of the Vibhutis of the Lord. He said the intelligence in you is me. And I'm earning out of money. So this greed that is making him earn a lot of money, and he's under illusion that I'm the best. I'm a fool. But someone who is free from false prestige, what will he say? I'm a fool. I've left the abode of the Lord and I'm suffering over here. Everyone is suffering over here. See, we like it or we don't like it, some or the other way we are suffering. And out of this suffering, we are trying to find out ways. How do I get out of this suffering? How do I get problems of all my answers? Problems of all your issues lie in the Bhagwad Gita. I think we've sent it some days back. We sent a thing, you click to the problem like anger. You'll get to that shloka, which will help you anger control. So just go through that. That is very nice. This is free from false prestige. What is free from illusion? Everything is Lord's mercy. Correct? Even if I have something good in me, it's because of mercy of the Lord. Today, if I get promoted to a higher post, if I clear some competitive exam, it's because Lord is blessing me. Is this consciousness difficult to get into you? No, right? The feeling of gratitude, having the consciousness that Lord is blessing me is the right thing. Correct? That is free from illusion. What if one doesn't attain to the spiritual world? What will happen? Yes, Mataji. Yeah. Can read?
न तद्भासयते सूर्यो न शशाङ्को न पावकः यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम.
Now, this shloka is a description of the Lord's supreme abode. How are the planets in the spiritual world? How are they different from the planets in the material world? Lord himself is explaining and he's revealing it over here, correct? Science is searching for these answers, but Lord is giving it in the Bhagavad Gita. You open it, read it, and understand it. See, every planet in this universe needs a source of light. Our planets like sun does not need a source. Sun is self-luminous. Because there is a sun, we are getting light. Imagine life without a sun. Is it possible? Life without the sun and the moon? No, not possible. No, impossible. Correct? So the sun is what is giving our planet the light. But sun does not need light. Sun is self-luminous. Similarly, and what is Krishna saying? I am the spark of the sun. I'm the light of the sun and the moon. Correct? Now he's saying the abode of the Lord, abode of mine, he's saying, na tad bhasyate suryo na shashanko na pavaka. It is not illuminated by the sun or the moon, not by fire or electricity. For us to survive, to cook food, to live our daily life smoothly, we need fire, we need heat, we need electricity. Imagine a life without electricity for 2 days. What is going to happen? Imagine a life without heat. What is the condition of the North Pole and the South Pole? Those who reach it never return to this material world. So the planets in the spiritual world are self-luminous. They illuminate, or the light is from within them. And from where is all this light coming from in with their self-luminous? How? Because on each planet, who's staying? Lord Narayana, right? And that luminous planet is the light that is illuminating from the planets is the Brahma Jyoti, correct? That is the effulgence of the Lord. So because of the effulgence of the Lord, all the planets over there are self-illuminating. They do not need a sun over there. They do not need a moon over there. Na bhasyate suryo, na shashanko, na pavaka. No sun, no moon. Yad gatva ananivartante, those who reach here, tadhama paramam mama, who will never return to this material world.
ममैवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूतः सनातनः मनःषष्ठानीन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति.
The living entity in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Lord is saying the living entity in this conditioned world, that is in this material world, everything, anything, living entity is anything. Insect, plant is also a living entity. A big animal, a fish in the sea, bird in the sky, human beings, entities. There are living entities on other planets also. Those, everyone, are my eternal fragmental parts. Because everything is arising from him, right? And who's putting life into all of them? The Lord. They are eternal. What is the word used? Eternal. We are eternal fragmental parts. Means we are not perishable. What is the perishable part in us? Is our body. And the problem is we are associating ourselves with the body. We are not the body. We are the soul, which is the eternal fragmental part of the Lord. That is why, the characteristic of the soul and the super soul is the same. What is it? Satchit Anand. Because why is it the same? Because it is the part and parcel of the part of the Lord. Qualitatively same. But due to conditioned life, they're struggling very hard with the six senses, which includes the mind. With the five senses, sixth one, the mind has been included in it. Mana Shasthani Indriyani means, Mana means mind. And Shasthani means with all these, totally including the mind, the six senses. Because of all this, they're conditioned and they are trying to gratify the senses and are struggling very hard in this material world. This is the actual identity of the living entity. Like in this big ocean, can you see this drop of water? If you pick a drop of water from this, the characteristic of it is going to be H2O, similar to the entire water, right? The characteristic of each drop of water is going to be same. But is the water quantitatively similar to the drop? The drop of water is like Anu, like how we are, and Lord is like Vibhu, omnipresent. See, living entity, same in quality with Krishna, but not in quantity. Another example, if you take a fire and there are sparks coming from the fire, right? So each and every spark is qualitatively similar to the fire, correct? But is it quantitatively similar to the fire? Can each spark be a fire itself? No, it's just a spark. Similarly, we are these tiny sparks, and Lord is like the fire. So qualitatively same means both are Satchitanand, but that Satchitananda quality is what conditioned, is forgotten, and by what lust when we are in the material world. Oh, if we still don't surrender and understand Krishna, then what will happen is what is Arjuna asking. In process of transmigration, even after understanding all this, even after I tell you all this, Lord is saying, then what will happen is you will get into the cycle of birth and death again. Yes, Mataji.
शरीरं यदवाप्नोति यच्चापि उत्क्रमातीश्वरः गृहीत्वैतानि संयाति वायुर्गन्धान् इवास्वयत्.
Okay. The living entity in the material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another, as the air carries aroma. Correct? Thus, he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another body. This is basically explaining this. The soul is passing. Correct? This soul is in this body of a 2-month-old kid. Is the soul is same in this man who's grown up? Is this 2-year-old kid the same? You think is the same person, but the body has changed, right? So the body itself is constantly changing. Then how can we say that we are the same? No, our body is changing, right? See, the body is looking different. This person who's dying here, this is the same one who's this. But so much difference, correct? But there is something which is the same. There is a soul that is passing. And after death, what is happening? The body, the soul is leaving the body, entering into another body. The living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, tongue, nose, sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys as a particular set of sense objects. Now, what are we? We are like we heard, we saw in chapter 13. Kshetra. Kshetra is the body. And what does body made up of? 24 elements, right? The sense organs, object of senses, knowledge acquiring senses. And whatever desire we have, no, in this life, which is going to desire is something which is always never going to be fulfilled completely. Some or the other desire is always going to be there. Correct? So only when a desire is vanished and when there is no desire, you're desire free, you will be able to reach the Lord. Because whenever there is a desire, you will carry it along with you, and according to that desire, you will get a body. Who are sleeping a lot, who their desire is not to do anything, will get senses accordingly, will get a body accordingly. Correct? Certain type of ear, certain type of body, so that they will the next life they will get of an animal who will sleep the whole time. Correct? Someone is accustomed to meat eating. Cow slaughter is so much issues happening because of that. In fact, in our country also. Correct? So people who are doing all that, what will happen? Their senses, that is their desire, correct? So that will be carried forward. And then next life they'll get, okay, that is what you desire, then you get a life of some animal, which will be eating another animal. Carnivorous animal, correct? So the soul, thus carried by the mind, he enters various bodies to obtain different senses for the. Why do we get all these senses? Why do we get the body? Basically, when we are getting the body, basically we are getting the sense organs. The largest sense organ is the skin everywhere around us. Touch, correct? Your eyes, nose, that is what we are operating with, sense organs. So we're getting that for what? Sense enjoyment, because we want to have some kind of enjoyment with the help of these senses. Foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of the modes of nature. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this. Now, see, who does not know anything, they will not understand how a person can, or they will not even understand this concept that a living entity is quitting his body. They will not even understand what is quitting the body. Person is dead. Heart is stop beating is stop beating. Correct? They will not understand that the soul is leaving the body, soul is entering another body, and how that is happening. To understand this, you have to have knowledge. You have to have proper eyes, which are trained in knowledge to see the truth. The fools are usually covered by the mode of ignorance, lust, and desires, so they cannot comprehend the changes of the body. Oh, how will one get attracted to you then? Lord is saying, Arjuna is asking, then how to get attached to you? So then Krishna is saying that I am the maintainer of everything. When you are in this body, you think I'm getting some amount of money over here, I'm earning something, so I'm maintaining my family. I'm giving money to my children. That is how I'm maintaining. Or my boss is giving money to me, so I'm maintaining them. My parents are giving something, so I'm maintaining by them. But who's maintaining everything? The Lord. Why? You know what is the Lord saying in this 15.12 and 13? I am the origin of the sun, the moon, and the fire, and giving us the energy of life. I am the energy of life. Remember, life is a question which cannot be answered. It's one of the unanswered questions in science. Lord is telling here, I am the energy of life and the origin of the sun, moon, and fire. So these are the most important things for us. Without this, life is not going to function. Are we going to be able to maintain ourselves if there's no morning only? Sometimes you just realize this night is not getting over. Will you be able to maintain yourself? Everything will just stop. all the functioning of all the machinery, all the mechanics, our system of survival that is keeping us comfortable in this material world is because of the sun, the moon, fire, light, energies, right? And that is, Lord is saying, I am that. This is the way I'm maintaining your gross body. Yes, Mataji.
अहं वैश्वानरो भूत्वा प्राणिनां देहमाश्रितः प्राणापानसमायुक्तः पचाम्यन्नं चतुर्विधाम्.
Pachamyannam chaturvidham is the 4 types of food that is getting digested. Annam is food. Pachami is digested. I am the fire of digestion. 4 types of food have been described in the purport. That is one just differentiated by the one which can be just swallowed. One has to be chewed, one has to be sucked, like that. All these kind of foods are getting digested inside your stomach. How? By the fire of digestion. That is me. That is Lord saying. Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashrita. Pranapana Samayukta Pachamyanyam Chaturvidham. So the fire that is whatever you're eating, it's getting digested. If you eat something and if your digestive system is gone wrong, some kind, imagine what kind of situation you'll be in. You're not able to digest the food that you're eating. How will you get the nutrients? If your food is not getting churned and crushed properly, is not getting the enzymes properly in the stomach to get digested, nutrients are not getting absorbed, how are you going to survive, right? So this fire of digestion is me, is what is Lord is saying. And I joining with air of life, going and incoming. So how is the digestion process happening? Well, Lord is saying, I am the fire and the air of life. Without breathing in and breathing out, we cannot survive. Close your nose, shut your mouth for 5 minutes. Forget 5 minutes, try it for 1 minute. 1 minute, 2 minutes, not possible, right? So that is what I am, air of life, just going in, outgoing and incoming. And that is, I'm digesting the food substances. So practically, how is he maintaining us or keeping us survived is what he is telling us. He is the light of the sun, the moon, and fire of digestion.
सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मत्तस्मृतिज्ञानमपोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृद्वेदविदेव चाहम्.
Sarvasya chaham hridai sanvishto. Very, very nice and important shloka. I am seated in everyone's heart. Hridai sanvishto. Sarvasya means everyone, in everyone's heart. As whom is Lord situated? As the Paramatma, right? The Shirodaksha Vishnu. And from me, matasmriti jnanam, from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. So if you have a great memory, you think you've acquired something great, that is who's giving it to you. That spark in you is because of the Lord. So your memory, your remembrance, your knowledge is because that is me, that is coming from me, is what is Lord saying. So inside us, what is Lord? Lord is everything, no? He is inside our heart. He's like the fire that is digesting the food. The remembrance that we have, okay, today it's understanding, that is 3:30 p.m. We're having a class, knowledge, understanding, we're learning Bhagwad. This is me, this is coming from me. And forgetfulness. What forgetfulness? We do not know what has happened in our past lives, correct? That is a forgetfulness. In fact, we do not even know what we ate 3 days back at the same time. Do you remember what you were doing at this same moment yesterday? No. Do you remember what you were doing at the same moment 1 year ago? No. But Lord knows everything. And this forgetfulness in us is also Him. Why is this forgetfulness important? Why do you think God has given us remembrance and knowledge and all that is fine? But why is there forgetfulness? Imagine if you come to know your best friend in your this life was some kind of enemy of your next past life, who's the one who's killed you in the past life. What will happen? So many bad things, so many bad memories of, even if that is a past life, forget past life. Even in the present life, so many bad memories. You eventually forget, no? Do you remember everything? Good things you try to remember, you keep it in your memory, but Bad things you try to forget. So what is that? Who's giving you that forgetfulness? You cannot carry all the bad things along with you all the time. You will not be able to live with bad memories, correct? So this forgetfulness, remembrance, knowledge inside your heart is me. And I am in your heart. Sarvasya chaham hridayasya Vishnu. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Vedesha sarvaira ahameva vedyu. When you sit and study all the Vedas which are given here, Rigved, Samved, Yajurved, Athurved, what is there? I am to be known. If you do not understand, if you read all the Vedas, you understand everything in the Vedas, but you don't understand me, then there's no use. This is what is all saying. I am the compiler of the Vedanta and I'm knower of the Vedas. So I'm knower of all these Vedas. All this knowledge, this Veda has gone from the heart of the Lord into the directly to the heart of Brahma. You did not have to write any books. Earlier, olden days in the Satya Yuga and all, just by hearing, they had a good memory. They used to remember everything. Now we read books. It needs to be written down for us to read and remember. That is why it is in the text format. Earlier, it used to be just told, Shravanam, important, and they used to remember it. Yes. Now, this is a 3-shloki Bhagavad Gita. Another 3 essence of Bhagavad Gita and 3 shloks. Chaturshloki Gita we learned in chapter 10. 8, 9, 10, 11. 4 shlokas. Memory verses. So, these are the 3-shloki Bhagavad Gita. This is also like a summary of Gita in 3 shlokas. There are 2 classes of beings, Lord is saying, fallible and infallible. In the material world, everything is infallible. Everything is fallible, means it's going to go away. It's temporary. So living entities are 2 types. One who are living in the spiritual world, who are the liberated souls, who've got a spiritual body, who are in relationship with the Lord. They are infallible. They are never going to get vanished, even after annihilation and recreation and everything. They are not a part of all this. Eternal. And fallible, like us, the living entities in the material world. In all the planetary systems, and not only this world, not only Earth, all the planetary systems. Besides these 2, there is a greatest living personality, the Supreme Soul. Supreme Soul, the imperishable Lord himself, who has entered the 3 worlds and is maintaining them. He's entered the 3 worlds. 3 worlds is basically Earth, above Earth, the worlds that we're talking about are the planets superior and below, remember? That is why, that is the 3 worlds, that is, he's talking about them. He's maintaining everything, entered into everything and maintaining them. So one are the living entities in the spiritual world, one are the living entities in the material world. Above these 2 is the Lord, who's maintaining all of this. Because I am transcendental, beyond both the fallible and the infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated in the world and in the Vedas as the Supreme Person. So Lord is supreme everywhere, even in the material world, even in the spiritual world, right? He is the Supreme Person everywhere, and that is what is given in the Vedas. That is a essence that should be your understanding. After you read all the Vedas, you should conclude this conclusion of this 3-shloki Bhagavad Gita. This is the conclusion of all the Vedas. Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is a knower of everything. And this knowledge you are not going to forget. He therefore engages himself in full devotional service to me. When you get knowledge, your devotion is going to be fixed. One who understands this Vedanta Sutra engages in devotional service. Now, Lord is saying, this is whatever I told you now, all this is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures. If this is the most confidential, means the essence or the secretive part or the main important part of the Vedic scriptures is all this knowledge, which I've given you now. Knowledge of the Supreme Person, Purushottam Yoga. This is the Vedic confidential knowledge of all the Vedic scriptures. If you sit one day and you try to read all the Upanishads, all the Puranas, this is the essence of that knowledge. O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Now I'm telling you this. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. So whoever will understand this is going to become wise. What is going to happen to him after you get knowledge? You're going to become wise, and who's going to reach the platform of perfection. See, these are the relationships that are enjoyed in the spiritual world. Dasya ras, Sakya ras, Madhurya ras. In the spiritual world, you can, whatever you wish, you can serve the Lord by being a friend to the Lord. like Sudama. You can serve the Lord in a motherly relation like Yashodamani. Madhurya Ras, the gopis. Sakhya Ras like a friend. Dasya Ras like a servant. Correct? So in any form of relationship you can have with the Lord in the spiritual world, direct connect with the Lord. And this direct connect is absent at the level of Brahmajyoti or the Brahma realization. Brahma realization is a partial realization, incomplete. It's not false, it's incomplete. It's just a part of it. There is something more to it. Correct? That is still not perfect. That will reach perfection when a tinge of service, when a tinge of devotion, when a tinge of love is added. And then there'll be a relationship established with the Lord that will be in the spiritual world. See, everyone is blissful. You know what is neutral ras or the shanta ras? Are these trees? These can be said to be in a neutral ras. They are there in association with the Lord. So this is a summary. So material world is compared to the spiritual world in this chapter. Material world is like inverted banyan tree, which is just a reflection of the real spiritual world, which is the Goloka Vrindavan. Correct? This is just a reflection. Reflection means there is something indicative of there is being something that is causing the reflection. That is the spiritual world. And how do you become detached? How do you get out of this pangs of the material world? How do you break the roots of this tree? Once you're entangled in the material world, you're going to be in that circle again and again, or trapped in all the branches. See, the branches are of three levels. The lowermost branches are the lowest living entities, lower species. The central branches are compared to the human beings who have a higher level of consciousness, higher level of intelligence. The topmost branches of the tree are compared to whom? Are compared to the demigods, the Gandharvas, all the living beings of the higher planets. So then we saw how is Krishna's position as our maintainer. How is he in this world practically maintaining us? Whatever we read, all that is okay, but how is he maintaining our body? That is what we saw. The food that we are eating, we know a certain digestion process. We've learned in physiology what happens. This enzyme breaks the fat, this enzyme breaking the proteins. All this is digestion process technically. But how is that happening? How is that happening? We don't know. We just know that this is happening. One day it automatically stops. Why? How? That fire of digestion is me, is what is Lord saying. Such an important function of the body, correct? Then another thing he said, he is light of the sun and the moon. Without that, nothing is possible. It's a remembrance. I'm a girl. I'm sitting here in front of the PC or the phone and listening to Bhagwad Gita. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and today's Monday. Remembrance. Forgetfulness. I don't know what I ate 3 days back at this time. Correct? I don't know what my previous birth was. Forgetfulness. Memory. This all is coming from me. So everything good in us is because what Lord is saying, you are a fragmental part and parcel of me. So do not have false ego or false prestige. Be humble. Because all this, whatever good is in us, you think someone is, very beautiful. Someone has beautiful eyes because Lord has beautiful eyes and you are his part and parcel. Something good of him is being picked up by you. Correct? Understood? And also the Lord is saying, I'm the summary of all the Vedas. If you want to write a summary of all the Vedas, that is me. So understanding Bhagavad Gita is like understanding all the Vedas and the Vedantas. Knowing Krishna means basically knowing everything. He's maintaining us in all the possible ways. We are in this hotel. We have to get out of this